General Huggs?
Where are those transmissions you sent?
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first?
A communications disruption can mean only one thing.
Okay, I'll hold.
I was so excited to start that I forgot to press that button. Got everything else right. Damn it. Well,
always that one little part.
One little piece. Well, welcome to ATGLive, the only place to be on a Thursday night if you want to talk about Star Wars, if you want to hang out with some older gentlemen who've been with Star Wars since as long as we can remember. Not that we're gatekeeping, but we're just pointing out a fact. Star Wars has been a part of our lives for both of us for as long as we can remember. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Pete Fletcher. I'm here with my good friend Nick Milky. Nick, how is it going, my friend?
It's going well. I had a moment this morning where I had to explain to my father the baseball bet and what that means and what that and everything. And so in the midst of that, of course, I had to look up the standings between the Phillies and the Braves.
6 games.
I believe we're at 6.5 games right now.
Yep.
That part is not great, but generally speaking, I mean, it's hard to not be excited about life because there's a million things going on. First week of school where I live, just everything's good. So
that's awesome. That's great. Well, we had, and not only that, there's a ton of Star Wars news this week. A ton, a metric literal ton of Star Wars. So tonight's show's format is going to be a little bit different. We are going to go through all of the news stories of the week. It's about 7 or 8 of them, and we're going to go through them, and we're going to be watching the chat because we want to hear what you have to say about what's going on. D23 happened this week, and that wasn't it. So there's a ton of cool things. No Basil Chronicles yet. I'm so sorry, Matt. Maybe that's coming. Who knows? But before we get started, Nick, let's do that thing we do every single week.
All right. First of all, we have to address this. Matt says Pete's looking a little bit like Luther from Christmas with the Cranks, wearing all the black. I'm also wearing the black. I'm in a work shirt. I came directly from work. It's been a busy day. A lot of things going on. Sometimes that's the way it goes. Pete's in his dark era. If we're using the Taylor Swift language, Pete's in his dark era. The colors in the studio are dark.
Well, I'm trying out a new camera, and I don't know how I feel about it yet, but it is a little darker. But yeah, you know what? Screw it. We're coming up on the fall. I want to be a little bit.
And if we're coming into anything in particular,
right?
We are in fact the dyad and the force. We have the light. We have the dark. We're we're bonding together to create the exact balance we need.
Absolutely.
So, or something. I just made that up.
Like that. Yeah. Well, I followed it. I don't know if I understood it, but I followed it. So
not important.
What's our toast for the evening, Mr.
All right. So here's the thing with our toast this evening, and we're going to get into this when we get into the news in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
This is related to one of our news stories, but it also relates to one of your favorite running jokes with the toast and things that are important to me.
Right.
And I know you already know where this is going.
I know where this is going.
The toast tonight actually is to John Williams. We're going to talk about it in a minute. The Disney Legends presentation.
Yeah.
John Williams was one of those legends. Here's the thing. I love Star Wars. I love Indiana Jones.
Right.
If you can pick one person connected to both of those properties,
right,
that won't have you more emotional, connected, whatever, that's not John Williams, I challenge you to that right now.
You know, it's interesting because I always say, like, because we didn't have Star Wars on VHS, we didn't have Disney Plus, we didn't have DVDs. The way I relived Star Wars as a kid was through the music. And if you look at things like Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones and E.T., when you hear those songs, when you hear that the music, the soundtrack, you can see the movie in your head. It's actually quite amazing. So yeah,
it's 100% legit. And you know, a handful of years ago, maybe before I had kids, which at this point was 16 years ago, there's that John Williams, you know, greatest hits, and you've got stuff from Saving Private Ryan.
Yep.
You've got Jurassic Park. You've got Hook. You've got Star Wars. You've got Indiana Jones. You've got, there's so many things. Like, it's far beyond just the two things that I talk about all the time and love, which are Star Wars and Indiana Jones. This man is a genius. This man is literally, you know, so again, and this one's for Matt. If it's a drinking game, and I'm talking about The West Wing,
right?
There's an episode of The West Wing where President Bartlett, Martin Sheen, is, yeah, I know, exactly. He's going to a concert at the Kennedy Center, with somebody who's writing a classical composition, who literally, like, he's so nervous because the president of the United States is going to be there that he's rewriting it up to the moment.
Yep.
And like, for us, classical music is like Beethoven and Bach and all these things. But like John Williams, he's in that category. Like,
yeah, for
you don't know classical music when you're in it. The people that knew Beethoven and Bach in that time didn't know that's what they were in.
Right.
Exactly. John Williams is that same thing. So it's a running joke on this show because I love the music. I love, you know, the soundtracks. I love so much of what John Williams has provided literally to my life, to the soundtrack of my life. But as we talk about him becoming a Disney legend, being inducted this week, which we're going to get to in the news, that's my toast tonight. So John Williams, for every single thing you've done for us.
Yep.
Cheers. Happy Star Wars. Happy Indiana Jones. Just
happy
John
E.T.,
Williams.
happy Jaws, happy, Amen, brother. Awesome. Well, hey, you know, maybe before, because as we said, the format tonight is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be just going through all the different news stories again, watching what you have to say in the chat. But hey, listen, I do want to talk a little bit about our sports ball league thing here.
Yes.
So here's the rules. We picked one player per position. It was me, it was Nick, it was Kelsey Puckett from ESPN. We picked one player per position. They were only able to be picked once. And then each week, there's going to be one head-to-head match randomly selected until all 11 positions have been played. By positions, we mean Rebel, Jedi, Trooper type,
Sith, Pilot, all of it.
The whole thing. 11 different positions. And the points that you get every week are equal to the percentage of the votes won. The most total points at the end of the season wins. And so we ran our first week this week. And so we urge you to share. We urge you to vote. We urge you, because if you share, you're going to get your name picked. Tomorrow morning, we'll be picking the winner from this week's sharing. But this week, we went Jedi head-to-head. My Jedi was Luke Skywalker. Kelsey's was Yoda. And Nick's was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Kenobi won by, I was going to say a landslide, but I don't know. I think Luke kind of pulled it out sort of toward the back there. And I'm shocked that Yoda got such a small number. And so I'm a little surprised there. So that means that we have our standings for the very first week. We have Nick, who is Team Gen X-Wing with 59 points. We have me, Boba Fett, at 31 points. And the Bristol Banthas, Kelsey's team, at 10 points. Nick, any comments before I unveil what's coming up for next week?
I think the biggest comment I have to make is simply the fact that this is good news for me. I have a couple of picks that were emotional picks. And this is the thing. When you're drafting something like this, you have to find that balance between, like, what are people going to adhere to?
Right.
You're playing to the, to the crowd, to the folks at hand, we're asking y'all to vote on this. But also, like, there's some heart in this. There's some people that I'm connected to. So I have a couple of picks. Got me a little ridicule, that just it's going to be a thing. So my Mon Mothma pick is going to be a hit. My Agent Callus pick are going to be a hit. Like, I think a couple of moments.
I think you're lucky that we started with Jedi this week because Kenobi's a good one, pulling in points. And this week we got Troopers coming up. So let's take a look at what you're going to be voting on starting on Monday.
Based on looks, and I'm just gonna pick just kind of the outfit. This is for Clint, like our guy, our fashion guy on the show.
Yeah, our fashion guy.
The Shadow Troopers, because I feel like their sleek black armor goes well in any setting. Very fashion forward, looks great next to any Imperial. Like, how do you not pick that?
This is a tough one for me because I spent a lot of last week, having a big party over my Biker Scout Trooper helmet that I just got in the mail. But I am 100% a classic Stormtrooper guy. It's my number one original trilogy, classic Stormy. That's my man.
Have to go Scout Trooper. Just because, as a kid, when that Scout Trooper showed up in Return of the Jedi, it changed everything and became my favorite Trooper helmet for a while. And they had more personality than Stormtroopers also. So I really was a big fan of those. All right. Well, I think we know who's going to win next week. I think it's going to be the Scout Trooper. I think we're pretty confident in that one at this point. Nick seems to be confident in it as well. He's put on the helmet. He knows that next week's winner is going to be me. So, yeah. So, pretty confident in this win coming up this week. You didn't hear a word I said, did you?
It doesn't matter. I'm here. I've got the helmet on. It's not even the helmet I picked.
No, it's not. That was what was shocking to me, was that you went.
It's over this shoulder, but it was the one that I guess I grabbed closest. I don't know. It's been a crazy week. What can I say?
What can you say? Well, I'll tell you what we can say. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to start with our news for the week. D23, tons of stuff. We want to hear what you had to think about it, what you had to say about it, what it means to you, what it means to Star Wars coming up. So we'll be back in one moment with more ATG Live. And we are back here on a Thursday night, hanging out, doing all things Star Wars, talking about all things Star Wars. And this week, we are super excited to dig into all the Star Wars news of the week, piece by piece, story by story, watching what you have to say about it. We are, I was going to say, there's something about that I don't even know. Nick, why don't we just get to the news? What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, our first news story of the night is a wrongful death and Disney Plus. What is the possible connection with something like that? Well, Disney is seeking to dismiss a wrongful death lawsuit filed by someone named Jeffrey Piccolo, the widower of NYU Dr. Kenokaporn Tang Swan. I am so sorry that I mispronounced her name, who died after an allergic reaction at a Disney Springs restaurant. You got to follow this story. It is insane. She died at a Disney Springs restaurant in October 2023. Disney argues that Piccolo waived his right to sue when he signed up for Disney Plus, a Disney Plus trial in 2019, agreeing to arbitrate disputes according to court documents filed in Florida. What does this have to do with Star Wars? Disney Plus. Piccolo's attorneys have called Disney's argument preposterous and outrageously unreasonable. They argue that the arbitration agreement tied to a Disney Plus subscription should not apply to a wrongful death case involving a separate Disney entity. Tang Swan, 42, died of anaphylaxis shortly after dining at Raglan Road Irish Pub and Restaurant. She had reportedly warned the staff of her severe nut and dairy allergies. Despite administering an EpiPen, she collapsed and later died at a local hospital. Piccolo is seeking over $50,000 in damages under Florida's Wrongful Death Act, including compensation for mental suffering, lost income, and funeral expenses. Nick, $50,000 is all they were asking for in a wrongful death suit, which seems insane to get to begin with. But what's your response to this? I think, I mean, I don't even know where to start with this.
When you sent this initially, I think you sent it to me before I saw it online.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where I'm like, is this real life? Is this really what's going on? Because there's so many layers to it. First and foremost, don't ever let anyone minimize the fact that someone died. Like,
correct.
That's horrible.
Yep.
You know, allergies are not letting someone know or not. Like, someone died.
Yep.
End of sentence, period. Like, terrible, horrible, 100%. It's so fascinating to me that we're at a point where, because you signed up for Disney Plus, and every one of us, whether it's iTunes, Disney Plus, whatever the thing is that you click, okay, yeah, I agree to the end user license agreement.
Yep.
All the things that we don't read because we go, yeah, it's just a part of the deal. If I want to use iTunes, I have to click yes. Yeah. Somewhere in the middle of that, there's a sentence that says, yeah, and by the way, if you die that something relates to X company, you can't sue us.
Correct.
Like, that's crazy train, because a person died not because they wanted to watch The Mandalorian, but because they have a significant allergy related to their food and health and physical system, whatever.
Yep.
And they told, you know, in theory, I don't know, I wasn't there, but it reads like they said, hey, this is my deal. And they still got, I don't know. There's so many details. It's still very nebulous.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're at like, hey, here's the thing, and Disney might be able to get away from it because he signed up for Disney Plus 3 years ago.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I think it's crazy. And the other thing that's wild to me, again, not at all minimizing this tragedy, this woman dying from an allergic reaction, but it's a $50,000 lawsuit. Look, I'll take $50,000 tomorrow. Anybody would take that. But at the end of the day, that is peanuts for Disney Corporation. This is a bury them in court situation. All of Disney's lawyers are on staff. This costs Disney almost nothing to fight this. And it's a PR nightmare if all these facts are correct, which I always sort of wait to make sure of. If all these facts are correct, this is a crazy place to decide to plant your banner. So
it's very fascinating. And again, all deference, all respect to the family who is literally suffering a loss of a family member. I don't want to make light of this in any way, shape, or form, but I am truly fascinated by the fact that, like, because, like, if I signed up for this, because I agree, I have Roku TVs.
Right.
Because I have a Roku TV and I have Disney Plus that came a part of my subscription to whatever the hell the other thing is as an add-on, does that mean that if Bob Iger himself comes into my house and punches my child in the head, I sign something that says he's not.
I specifically signed the Bob Iger can come and punch my children in the head clause. I did that.
It's a very, I don't know. And again, your point about $50,000, like for some place like Disney, like it surprised me that Disney's not saying, pay it, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
It's going to become an actual CNN. We've seen it on multiple news outlets. There's a lot there.
This makes no sense.
But we have other stories, so let's keep it moving.
Let's keep going.
Ben Burtt's going to be honored. Legendary sound designer Ben Burtt, the creative force behind some of the most iconic audio moments in cinema, including the lightsaber hub, Darth Vader's breathing, set to receive the Vision Award. This is a tough one. Taikano Moda at the 2024 Locarno Film Festival. Burtt, a 12-time Oscar nominee, 4-time winner, revolutionized the sound landscape of sci-fi with his innovative work on films such as Star Wars, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and one of my faves, Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
His work has not only shaped the auditory experience of generations, but has set new standards in sound design. If you go back and watch documentaries, if you watch Clayton Sandell, Galaxy of Sound, some of those things that he's done, Ben Burtt is thoroughly weaved into that. In a recent interview, Ben Burtt reflected on his pioneering career, sharing insights into his process. Notably, he revealed Darth Vader's iconic breathing was produced using recordings of his own breath through a scuba regulator, which we've kind of heard that, through some of the lore of whatever, later slowed down to achieve the menacing effect. Burtt's approach to sound, blending organic elements with technological manipulation, has left an indelible mark on the film industry. Vision Awards honors his contributions to cinema, celebrating his role in expanding the art of sound design. Pete, where are we without movies and their sounds?
I'm shocked that in all of the accolades that they list in Ben Burtt's resume, that they don't mention that I interviewed him in New Jersey several years ago, and then again a second time. I mean, how is that not like the top of? Be that as it may, honestly, I Ben Burtt. There's two things about Star Wars in 1977. I read somewhere that Ralph McQuarrie said when talking to George that none of these costumes are going to look good on screen. He was wrong. I mean, it worked out. And the sound of Star Wars is what makes Star Wars. The sound of the lightsaber hub, the TIE fighter sound is such a strange and unique sound. But he came up with it, and he just has that amazing skill. And he has, the sounds of Star Wars are as important as the music, as important as the costumes, as the special effects. And Star Wars doesn't work without it. And of course, Ben Burtt's legacy of all the things he's worked on is absolutely incredible. Do you have a favorite sound effect, Nick?
It's so tough. And I think about this and I feel like Ben Burtt's legacy really is tied to the fact that yes, he got to interview with you for your first interview, Star Wars Galaxy Magazine. Cool, whatever, what the hell. But I haven't had the chance to talk to him, so it's not real life yet. There are a few things that I think are better in my life than the sound of the Millennium Falcon when it doesn't start up.
Yeah.
That biplane, the engine, we know what it is.
Yep.
It's so fulfilling. It's so good. And that look from Han when he's like, no, seriously, it's supposed to work. I don't know why it is. That's the one. That's the one right there. It's Ben Burtt is, he's everything. And I love Indiana Jones. And that's my 1A, 1B to Star Wars.
Yep.
So to have all of that, this is a person clearly 100% worthy for all of these honors.
For sure. For sure. Well, we got more stories. There's a lot going on. We got one more before we start to talk a little bit about some of the
things. So we have
learned.
new. Oh, wait. I think maybe I got these out of order. Hang on.
Nope. Legends inducted at D23. That is me.
Oh, that is you. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Well, speaking of our toast at the top of the show, John Williams, Harrison Ford, and Frank Oz were officially named Disney Legends during a special ceremony at D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan Event, on August 12th, 2024. Actually, I think it was... August 12th. The trio, known for their iconic contributions to the Star Wars universe and beyond, were celebrated for their remarkable influence on global entertainment. Disney CEO Bob Iger opened the event, highlighting the significance of the Disney Legends Award as, quote, the highest honor our company bestows. Harrison Ford, the first of 14 recipients honored, was praised for his enduring impact as a leading man, with Kathleen Kennedy, Steven Spielberg, and others offering tributes. In his acceptance speech, Ford expressed deep gratitude for the collaborative nature of his career. Frank Oz, who I also met at the Revenge of the Sith premiere, but that's a story for another day. Yeah, I'm dropping names tonight. I don't care. Celebrated for his work with beloved characters like Yoda and Miss Piggy, was introduced by Pixar's Pete Docter. Oz used his speech to encourage others to embrace their true selves. And finally, in deference to Nick, John Williams was introduced by Ford and Kennedy, and he was lauded as the greatest film composer of all time. His timeless scores were recognized for their role in storytelling, with the Pacific Symphony Orchestra performing a medley of his iconic themes. The ceremony is available for streaming now. Have you watched it? Have you had a chance to take a look at it?
I have not had a chance to take a look at it. Like, I saw the tiny clips. I saw Harrison come out. I saw Frank Oz come out. Somehow in the midst of that, I guess my algorithm doesn't know me well enough. I didn't get the John Williams clips automatically funneled to me. Well, but it's something I need to go back and look up.
I have not watched it either, but I mean, that's, again, just reading about it and hearing about it and seeing, the handful of clips online, it takes me back to when we were at Star Wars Celebration, and maybe one of the greatest moments, and something that is going to be nearly impossible to ever beat as it comes to being a fan, was when John Williams was introduced and Harrison Ford came out on stage.
His 90th birthday?
For his 90th birthday. Yep. And to watch with a room full of Star Wars fans, not just a room, like an arena full of Star Wars fans.
Thousands of people.
To hear the Imperial March, to hear the new Kenobi theme, and of course, to hear the Indiana Jones March when Harrison walked on stage. It was just something that was, it takes your breath away for sure.
And that's what broke me, to be perfectly honest. Like, cards on the table. In fact, I'm scrolling back through my iTunes photos as we're saying this, because I wish I could put it up on the screen. Being there with you in Anaheim, like, we were in the room.
Yeah.
And we knew there was something going on for John Williams, and it was his birthday, and that was a big enough deal.
Yep.
And then literally they're like, oh yeah, and Harrison Ford comes out on the screen. I mean, on the stage.
Yep.
And like, I'm done at that point. Like, I wept openly in my seat, sitting next to your son, you on the other side, your dad on the other side of you. Like, it was a legitimate deal. And it's that moment where I feel so small, because I'm like, this is my childhood. This is my life. Like, this is the thing that means so much to me.
Yep.
And it was incredible.
It was absolutely a once in a lifetime experience for sure. All right. Well, let's hit one more story. Then we'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back with a couple of other things. We are watching the chat. We love hearing what you have to say. And if you're having fun with us tonight, please make sure to like and subscribe and share and all that other stuff. And if you're watching us on Twitter, we are happy to see you there. Make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're sharing this with all your friends so we can get more people hanging out with us. So,
without a doubt. Speaking of D23,
yes,
we got a bunch of stuff last weekend in the midst of all those things in the Star Wars part of this. We get a first look at Mandalorian and Grogu. At D23, the Expo, Star Wars fans were treated to an exciting update on the Mandalorian and Grogu. movie currently in production. Director Jon Favreau and Lucasfilm Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni unveiled a teaser trailer, though it remains unreleased to the public. So we saw the, kind of somebody happened to be there. They had it on their phone.
Somebody may have,
may or may not have, cannot confirm or deny. But attendees described the footage as packed with action, revealing new details about the highly anticipated film. The teaser confirmed the return of fan favorite Garazeb Aurelios, who appears to be joining forces with Mando and Grogu. I have a theory about this. We're going to come to it in a minute. The Lasat from Star Wars Rebels had a very brief cameo in Mandalorian Season 3. Is expected to have a larger movie role in this movie. Additionally, Pete, this is a big one for you because you had the Lego, you had Hal Hickle.
Yeah.
The Razor Crest, Mando's iconic ship, makes a surprising comeback, delighting fans. I don't think that's what it is, but we'll get there in a minute. Notable scenes from the trailer include Mando navigating an AT-RT down a snowy mountain, which was fun, landing in front of several AT-ATs, and Grogu crawling through an air vent, possibly on a covert mission. The film will also feature snowtroopers on a vital snowy planet, evoking memories of The Empire Strikes Back. Mandalorian Grogu is set to hit theaters in May of 2026, promising a thrilling adventure with strong Imperial influences. So there's a lot going on in those clips. Pete, what do you see? What are the things that stand out the most?
Well, so first of all, I because it was such a fuzzy bootlegged version, I don't think it's the Mando in an AT-RT, the little chicken walker, or not even chicken walker. So I think it's Zeb. I think we're going to see Zeb's jobs, or what Zeb was up to during the Battle of Hoth. That's my hope. I would love to see that. So I think that'd be pretty cool. And let's talk about the Razor Crest. I know you have a theory, but I have a theory as well. I think we're both probably on a similar page on that. I don't think it's the Razor Crest. I think it's a Razor Crest. The first thing that jumped in my mind when I didn't, the clips that I didn't watch because they were bootlegged and it wouldn't be right to watch them online. Let's just say when people said that the Razor Crest appeared, my first thought was when the Mithril on the very first season, and like within the first 10 minutes of the episode, says, "Oh, a Razor Crest," and then references how old the ship is. I think Zeb's got one too. I think Zeb's flying a Razor Crest on his own, sort of like a Falcon, a YT cruiser, and the Outrider from Shadows of the Empire.
For sure. So here's my version of that.
Yeah.
I think what we see, and so this is going to be weird because Star Wars does flashbacks, sort of. Like we get Last Jedi, we get kind of the Kurosawa version of the flashback of what happened with Kylo and Luke and, that whole thing. We don't get a ton of flashbacks other than Book of Boba Fett going back to the lizard hippie crazy tree. Like we get some of that. I think the shot we see of Zeb in what appears to be, and we don't know, but what appears to be a Razor Crest with Mando, I think that's actually how Mando gets the Razor Crest in the first place. I think he gets it from Zeb. Not that he gets another one. That's where the first one came from.
I like that
and we're
theory.
In some sort of flashback, because what we get of Zeb in Mandalorian Season 3 is him with Carson Teva. We don't get him with Mando, Din Djarin. We don't know what that relationship is. So it could go farther back. And I like to think that maybe that's a flashback to where he got it in the first place.
I like that a lot. I think that is really super cool. And we're both wrong. I mean, that's just the way this always works. So it doesn't matter. I'm glad that we're having these little conversations, but we're both very wrong. So, hey, listen, we're going to take a real quick break. Then we're going to go back into some more of the D23 stuff from this past week. We're going to dig in. And then when we go through the rest of the news, we're going to spend a couple minutes, just a couple, talking about what the news that came out of it really actually means to where we are in Star Wars. So we're going to take a break and we'll be back with more ATG Live. And we are back with more ATG Live, your Thursday night home for all things Star Wars. Normally, at this point in the show, we would be going to a guest. We'd be bringing in a special perspective, if you will, but not this week. No, this week there was so much news that came that we need to do a little bit more news. So we're doing more news, and I just had to. We used that bumper I think once, and I just like it so much. I had to do it again.
Bring it
every time. Works 60% of the time. Works 100% of the time, or whatever that number is. Okay, Our next story is Andor season 2 reveals at Disney D23 Expo. Andor fans received some exciting news about the show's second season, set to release in 2025. Lucasfilm confirmed that Ben Mendelsohn and Alan Tudyk will reprise their roles as director Orson Krennic and droid K2SO, my two favorite Star Wars characters since the Disney acquisition. They will both be back. Both characters were originally introduced in Rogue One, and their return adds to the anticipation surrounding the final season. A behind-the-scenes video shown at the event revealed footage from the upcoming episodes, including glimpses of intense action, espionage, and rising unrest in the galaxy. The teaser hinted at urban battles, mass protests, and scenes at the iconic Rebel base on Yavin 4. It's all coming together. Diego Luna, who plays Cassian Andor, spoke about the conclusion of the character's journey. He shared that Season 2 will span 4 years, leading up to the events of Rogue One. Luna expressed gratitude to fans, stating, "I've lived with Cassian Andor for almost 10 years now." The season promises high stakes, with Luthen Rail declaring, "We bring them down or die trying." Although no specific release date was announced, Andor Season 2 is expected to deliver in early 2025. Nick, did you see any of this bootleg material as well, or no?
I kind of maybe almost did not.
Okay.
But in the midst of all of that, I did see, and in fact, we saw a tweet from Star Wars Today official with Diego Luna talking about how excited he is. So, and this is the thing, this isn't always my move. I'm not always like an avoid, like I have friends and I admire my friends that go, like Jeff Quaglio, Patreon friend of the show. Jeff, in the last couple of Star Wars shows that have come out, has been like, I'm not watching any trailers. I'm avoiding all of it. Like, I just want to come in, watch it, and love Star Wars. I admire that more than I can say. I'm not saying that's my default position with Andor, but I've also not spent a lot of extra time pursuing. Like last week, you and I texted back and forth while the D23 stuff was happening on Friday. Kept waiting for Star Wars. Like, I've seen some things here and there, but I'm not super invested in it. But what I'm 100% ready to say is I can't wait for Andor Season 2. Like, give me K2SO, give me Krennic connected, like, start getting me into the things that I already know. Season 1 was phenomenal. And Stellar Skateboard, Stellan Skarsgård, whatever, that speech that he gives, a future that he doesn't get to see and planting a tree, like that whole thing, like, yes. Like, that's what I want in a Star Wars. That's the Aaron Sorkin West Wing Star Wars. Sorry, Matt.
There it is again.
That I want. But Andor Season 2, I'm so ready for it. Like, bring it on.
I was really pleasantly surprised to see that Orson Krennic is going to be back, and I'm also happy to see that K2SO, again, my two favorite characters coming out of the Star Wars era or the Disney era of Star Wars. So I couldn't be more excited. And again, the show, it has to speed up, it has to ramp up, because it's going to lead us directly to that moment where Cassian gets caught on the Ring of Kafrene at the very early stages of the movie.
When he shoots that dude.
So we have to understand. Go ahead.
So what we know is we have that 5-year period, right? The first season was the first of those 5 years. In theory, the second season is the other 3 episodes per year of those 4 years, right? So, I mean, give it to us. Give us those jumps. Give it that time frame. But there's so much story that's built. here's another thing. I've never super cared for Saw Gerrera, but Saw Gerrera and Andor season 1, all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, maybe I feel differently about this.
Yeah,
like it wasn't the same as Rebels. It wasn't the same as Rogue One. Like it was a different thing. And the fact that we get to develop that character even more, like, yes, please, and thank you.
Yep, for sure. All right. Well, there is more news from D23, and Nick.
There is. Skeleton Crew unveiled at Disney at the D23 event that we just talked about. The first teaser trailer for the upcoming Star Wars series Skeleton Crew was finally unveiled, giving all of us our first extended look at the highly anticipated show. Executive producer Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. The series is helmed by showrunners John Watt and Christopher Ward. John Watt obviously connected to Spider-Man movies. Chris Ford, lots of connections, lots of important things that he's done. The series follows the adventures of 4 kids who stumble upon a mysterious discovery in their otherwise safe home planet. The journey takes them through a strange and dangerous galaxy where they encounter new allies and enemies, including enigmatic Jad Nawud. Not sure I said any of those words right, but played by Jude Law. The show's cast includes Ravi Kabit-Conyers, Ryan Kiera Armstrong, Kariana Cratter, Robert Timothy Smith, and Nick Frost, who we know from all the Simon Pegg movies. That minimizes Nick Frost, but all those movies, Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, partners, teamed up in a bunch of things. He's voicing the robot SM-33. Carrie Condon, Dana DeLegrio, Jaleel White. I don't know if y'all know this. Jaleel White, Steve Urkel from that little show called Family Matters way back in the 90s. The impressive lineup directors, here we go. John Watts, as we mentioned, Spider-Man. One of my favorite in the Disney era, Bryce Dallas Howard. And the Daniels, which is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Is that the right title? I'm close. I'm almost there. That's right. Among others. So Skeleton Crew is coming to Disney Plus on December 3rd, 2024. That's this year, December 3rd. Pete, you were almost close on your prediction. Not quite there.
Missed that one.
Blend of mystery, adventures, new characters. The series promises to be an exciting addition to Star Wars universe. So we have 2 things. We were promised a family Star Wars, Amblin, Goonies, E.T., all that kind of stuff. Is that what you saw from the trailer? And what are you expecting from this series?
Oh, yeah. Matt nailed it here in the chat when he said, if you didn't giggle like a 5-year-old at the end of the Skeleton Crew trailer when they said you're a Jedi, I can't be friends with you. That's 100% it. So we talked about it last week. The fact that the speeder bikes have the little tassels off the ends of the handlebars like they had when we were kids in the 70s and 80s. The show looks great. People are already bitching about it looking like too suburban, too Earth-like. I don't care. I want to see it. And
to borrow a phrase from the movie Armageddon that I believe, what's his name? Thornton.
Billy Bob?
Billy Bob says in Armageddon, he says, I beg your pardon, Mr. President, it's a big ass sky. I adapt that to Star Wars to say, I beg your pardon, Mr. Emperor, it's a big ass galaxy. Yes, there are parts of the Star Wars galaxy that look like a suburban ass neighborhood. It's not all Coruscant and Tatooine. That's just it.
For sure. And I think, I love that we saw kids who are, it's clearly going to be a Goonies style adventure. They're going to fall into something. And I love an old Jedi sort of saving them, kind of the old, the wise old wizard kind of a guy to kind
Very
of
Obi-Wan.
Help them through it. But again, we still have no idea what the show's about, which is fantastic, which is great. I don't want to know. I want to go into this
should be
and just really enjoy it for all its Star Wars goodness. So as our friend Chris Ryan says, gimme. So, all right, we have a couple more stories on the evening. And let's see this next one. Oh, this is right up my alley. This one is at Disney's D23 event. Star Wars fans were treated to the official trailer for Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. This new animated special will be a 4-part miniseries debuting on Disney Plus on September 13th, just a couple weeks away. The series explores alternate universe stories, including unexpected twists like Darth Jar Jar, tip of the hat to crazy fan theories, and a surprising love story between Princess Leia and Greedo, making our friend Holly extremely happy. Notably, Mark Hamill returns as Luke Skywalker and also serves as a consulting producer for the show, which is a really cool role for him. The official synopsis reveals that the series centers around a character named Sig Griebling, an ordinary nerf herder voiced by Gaten Matarazzo from Stranger Things. Sig's life takes a wild turn when he discovers a powerful artifact in a hidden Jedi temple, throwing the Star Wars galaxy into chaos. In the mixed-up version of the galaxy, heroes and villains swap roles, and it's up to Sig to set things right. The series is helmed by showrunners Dan Hernandez and Benji Samit, with a star-studded cast that includes Gaten, Tony Revolori, Marcy Martin, excuse me, and Skywalker Saga veterans like little-known character actors like Ahmed Best, Anthony Daniels, and the legendary Billy D. Williams. Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy promises a fun and imaginative twist on the beloved franchise. You know, Lego has done such a phenomenal job of giving us an interesting perspective on the story. It's shown us the only real Jedi version of Finn. I'm excited to see this. Nick, from what you've seen of this, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking, and what do you expect?
I'm in favor of all of it. I've said many times on the record, Lego Star Wars is some of the most fun, pure, happy, just have it, enjoy it, like it because you like it, Star Wars.
Yep.
I will also say you listed a amazing lineup of voice talent. The one that you didn't say in there, which is one of our, aims for getting on this show at some point. Yep. Bobby Moynihan as Jedi Bob. Give us Jedi Bob, because that's been a thing that has existed for a while, but it's exciting and it's fun. And I was at Target earlier today, and the all black Millennium Falcon, this is our deal. It's, what if for Star Wars is Lego Rebuild the Galaxy? Great. I'll take it. It's so much fun. There's nothing better than Lego Palpatine, where he's just crazy and lightning hands. And
he's very, very, very Robot Chicken of the Emperor in Lego.
100% Robot Chicken, and you know that's some of our favorites. So between that, it's the perfect intersection of Robot Chicken and also Dark Helmet from Spaceballs. If you roll those into what does that look like if you take those two things and make them Star Wars? That's Lego Palpatine. It's
sure.
Big. It's a puffy shirt. It's, whatever. But how do you not get excited about this? Because it's fun. The Lego Star Wars Skywalker video game. I'm not the craziest, biggest video game person, but I was like, I'm going to play that one. And I played all 9 of the, the sagas. And every now and then I pull it up just because it's fun, mindless, let's run around and do some Star Wars stuff.
Yep. Yeah, no, and I think Lego always does such a great job of pulling all these things together and making them fun. And again, leave your cannon at the door and let's have a little fun with things. So all right, we got one more story for you all tonight. So Nick, let's hear it.
Sorry, I cut you off. Yes, we have one more story tonight. Disney Plus is profitable. I know this is going to come as a oh, something happened. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, hang on. Hold on. I'm having technical difficulties. Not anybody's fault. We can edit this out. Audio.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Pete, hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I don't know what's happening. Hang on. Hold that thought. You're there. Right. I see you. I see your face. I see you talking.
Yeah, we can hear you, Nick. We just can't. You can't hear us, I guess. All right.
Hello.
Hello.
Shit.
Well, this is not going
hang on.
well.
Hold tight. Pete's going to hang tight and smile at you. I'm going to refresh.
All right. You know what? Maybe I'll just read that story while he goes. Disney Plus has reached a major milestone in its streaming business, announcing its first quarterly profit for the direct-to-consumer division, which includes Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. During the company's Q3 earnings call on August 8th, Nick, can you hear me?
We're back.
Can you hear me?
I got you.
All right. Well, I just started reading the story. Do you want that?
I got you.
You know what? We can just toss this story. It's not that a big of a deal, so we'll just toss this story.
Hey, guess what? Disney Plus is making money for the first time in a long time.
Sure.
Story.
Good.
Period.
Good stuff. So that kind of wraps it up for all the D23 news. Nick, what else did you see at D23 that stuck with you, that struck you as interesting?
I mean, we got a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff, which of course is always exciting. There were some other things, and of course I have younger kids, so we got Toy Story 5, which that's not even my kids. Like, I went to college in the 90s. Toy Story came out, the first one in the 90s. Like, Toy Story 5, we had this weird thing in my house literally like 2 weeks ago where my kids were like, oh, the Toy Story 5 is such and such. I was like, that doesn't exist. That's not a real thing. And I had to convince them, and we had to go through, like, Toy Story 1 is about this, Toy Story 2 is about this. Like, we had to walk our way through it before they're like, oh, shit, like, that's 5 isn't real yet.
Yeah.
But it is now.
I honestly, literally could not care less. I think that they are milking that to death. But, hey, you know, I've been wrong before, so we'll see what happens.
And I'll give you that, but I'm also in – so there's some things, and Matt's on one of them that I'm going to get to in just a second. So Toy Story 5, let's go. Incredibles 3, let's go.
That'll be fun.
I don't care. Yeah. I don't care about Moana, you know, extra. My wife does. I don't care about Frozen. My kids do. Like, there's a bunch there. But also, we got some stuff from Daredevil.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Disney Daredevil is going to look closer to the Netflix Daredevil than maybe we thought it was going to. That's very exciting, because Netflix Daredevil, really effing good. Like, I love that series. It's a lot of fun. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there that I can't wait to see. And this is what we love about these events, whether it's, oh, did I get the trailer online? I don't care. It's a premium event. Somebody paid to get to go there. We went to Anaheim. We went to, you know, I'm going to go to Dragon
That's
Con.
the thing. Let's talk about that for 1 second, because I saw a lot of people saying it's not fair that we don't get to see what's going on there. And I'll tell you what, pay the money and go, be part of the audience. And honestly, like I said, I joked. I did look at the at some of the bootlegged videos that came through, and I watched them once, but I didn't like get hung up on it. And not for 1 second was I upset that I didn't get to see it. And I leave it up to the marketers. I leave it up to the professionals to say, hey, now's the time to get this information out, and not. You pay to go to D23 so you can watch Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni walk out on stage and give you 30 seconds of new footage. That's what you're going for. That's why we went to Star Wars Celebration. So quit complaining that you weren't getting those things. Do I want to see that Daredevil and the Thunderbolts and those other things in better form so I can make up my mind what I think? Yeah, I do. Yeah. But
give me the Captain America trailer where Harrison Ford turns into Red Hulk all day long. Like, let's go.
You're not going to see me complain that I didn't get it, though, because I decided not to spend money to go to D23 and fly to California. It was my choice. So, So I'm excited about that. I will say this
good stuff there.
Yeah. I will point out, though, what I think we didn't get, which is very interesting. They had an animation panel, and we did not get an announcement for a new Star Wars animated show or even a tip of what might be coming. So I find that to be very interesting, especially in light of the fact that Disney has recently been hiring people for an animation department. So it's either so early in development they don't want to talk about it, or they're still not 100% sure what they're going to do.
I think they're working it out. I think they know there's a lot of bread and butter there. They know there's a lot of, you know, stuff to be gained. Audiences. I mean, your Jack is a perfect example. You know, there's a lot of people who are going to connect to anything Star Wars animation. So if they're going to do it, if they're going to put the resources into it, maybe they're taking the time to go, let's make sure it's right, which I support that 100%. One last thing. This isn't Disney, but it came up late this afternoon. I texted you about it. Nick Cage playing legendary sports coach and broadcaster John Madden. Pete, how do you land on a John Madden biopic starring Nicolas Cage?
I don't know. I guess I'll watch a John Madden biopic because who doesn't love John Madden? Yeah. But Nicolas Cage is John. Like, why isn't it John Goodman? There's only one choice: is John Goodman. How could it be Nicolas Cage?
It feels like a miss, but we've had other things where we went, weird.
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming.
Honestly, yeah, I did not think that Heath Ledger was going to be a good Joker. It turned out to be one of the best ever. So,
this brings up a perfect example. And Matt says Will Ferrell, but I showed my wife the other day the trailer for Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Yeah, and she was like, "Wait, what?" Like, because Colin Farrell, like, what the hell? Like, he's not. There's obviously a lot of prosthetics. There's a lot of things going on there, but again, sometimes you just don't know. So I'm going to reserve my judgment until it shows up. But when I saw that headline come across and I went, John Madden, Nick Cage,
that's bizarre.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So, well, Nick, I'm going to call it a night tonight. We had a ton of news, a lot to digest. We'll be back next week. I won't be here next week, Nick. It's going to be you and a special guest host. Yep. So I don't think we'll get 8 news stories next week, but I'm sure there will be stuff to talk about.
Always something to talk about.
Absolutely. So, Nick, may the force be with you.
Always.
What's up, my fellow Gen X Star Wars fam? My name is Chris Rhines from Broaxium. You may know me from ATG's Force Connect that I co-hosted with Pete and Nick. Now, I'm the owner and operator of Broaxium Outpost, an online shop for all your action figure and collectibles needs like Star Wars Black Series, G.I. Joe Classified, Star Wars Vintage Collection, Marvel Legends, Star Wars Black Series and Vintage Collection, Transformers Studio Series, Star Wars action figures, Masters of the Universe, and much, much more, including Star Wars action. Alright, I have a lot of Star Wars stuff, I'm just saying. Stop by and check out the store at www.broaxiumoutpost.com. Sign up to become a part of the Bounty Hunters Guild and stay updated on new pre-orders, sales, and exclusive Broaxium content. Find something you like? Use the promo code ATG5 for 5% off your first order. We have Star Wars figures, by the way.
Just one more round, friend, then homeward bound, friend. Don't forget me in your dreams. Just one more song, friend, and then so long, friend. The nights get shorter, it seems. Just one more rhyme, friend. Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend. Time can fly. So it's good night, friend. Good night, but not goodbye.